36 degrees, 92.1 WROI, We are streaming audio live on RTC Channel 5, audio and video live, RTC Channel 4. Hello, Scott.
Good morning, Tom.
Missed you last week. Welcome back to the studio.
Good to be here, sir.
All right, nice to have you with
We
us.
didn't miss him very much.
Well, I know.
The young man that filled in did an excellent job.
He did a fine job.
Yeah.
Chris did a wonderful job, but it's kind of nice to have Scott back in here this morning, don't you think?
Well, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And we welcome Dick Belcher from First Federal Savings Bank. Good morning.
Good morning. 36 degrees.
36 degrees.
Woo. Now, you know, this is Friday the 13th.
It is.
Did you see any black cats coming
No,
in?
I have not.
Have you walked on under any ladders?
I have not. No.
Okay.
All those. No, I'm trying to stay away from those things today.
Be careful.
Okay.
All right.
I'll watch it.
Well, I got a memo from Scott Stahlbaum. He's in charge of the 200th anniversary, and they're looking for people to help out with that.
Sure.
And if you're interested, including they're going to pass the torch on around.
Yeah, baton, torch, whatever. Sure.
Mhm.
Next year, right?
Yeah. 200th anniversary. So if you want to work on that, I call Scott at high school, and they can fix you up.
All right.
So. Okay. Hey, we've got an interesting guest today, Mr. Bill Newton, who
Pressure's on now, Bill.
Yeah. Former Pacer and LSU guy and Rockville.
All those places, right?
What grade school?
There's only one grade school, one high school. That's Rockville. Rockville Elementary and Rockville High School.
There you go.
Okay, well, anyway, we're going to talk about that. But that brings up the NBA and some trivia, because Bill was a good friend of Mel Daniels and attended that funeral last week, and so I thought it'd be a good idea to bring Fig in. Sorry to call you Fig.
That's
When I Googled you, I Googled it, and I got the cookie. And it also said they no longer call it Fig Newton. It's just Newton bars.
Ah,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I learned something already this morning.
It's worth getting up for, isn't it?
And of course, that came from my roommate was Apple. So, as soon as he had a nickname of Apple, of course, if we were roommates, he thought I needed one. So that's where Fig came from.
There you go.
So what was his nickname?
Apple.
Apple.
So his name was Al Sanders, but his dad was Big Apple and he was Little Apple.
I had a fraternity brother named Apple, so that's why I said what was the nickname. So, well, anyway, here's a little trivia with reference to the NBA and the ABA. You played in the ABA,
Right.
Okay. Younger group out there don't know what we're talking about. the ABA. Which were the names of the two NBA franchises that were previously in Indianapolis before the Pacers?
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh. Wow.
Okay.
I gotta work on that one.
When the NBA and the ABA went together, I think there were 6 teams in the ABA, and only 4 of them joined. We can say what 4 were those?
Right. Okay.
Bill knew that answer.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Or here's some more. When Mel Daniels was drafted from New Mexico, that's where he played college ball. He was drafted by the NBA as well as the ABA, and he selected who? The NBA or the ABA?
Okay.
And what was the name of the team?
Oh my. Oh my.
He knows.
Trivia.
Trifecta of trivia today.
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, the Lady Z's basketball team, they're 2-0.
3-0. They won last
3-0.
night. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, beat Culver Academy last night.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that last.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Well, it was a game that was moved from tonight because Culver had a football game tonight.
Okay.
So, and by the way, the game tomorrow has been moved to an afternoon game as opposed to a Saturday night game. So Northwood, Rochester play at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
There you go. That's all I know.
And where do they play?
Here.
Okay.
He's going to have one at least this year, though, and then they put in that new kid, the Biggie, and he's almost a center at 6'9" and 240 or 50 or whatever he is.
How'd you like to feed that team?
Oh, man. Wow.
They eat you out of house and home.
Uh-huh.
Okay, in basketball, Butler hosts Citadel this week.
Butler's supposed to be good this year.
Butler, the four
Oh,
Indiana teams
yeah.
in the top 25.
Yeah.
Never before.
No. And even Valparaiso's supposed to have a good team this year.
Yep.
Okay.
The Butler way.
Yeah.
Okay, Purdue hosts North Carolina AT. You
Okay.
know what AT is?
Ag and Tech.
There you go.
You're right.
Right there.
Who's one of their famous graduates?
They had one.
They did. I don't know.
Jesse Jackson.
Oh, really? Okay.
I
Okay.
googled that information.
Yeah, I see. I see. I just thought you were a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, and then Purdue plays them tonight, and then
Okay.
and then they also play Sunday afternoon. They play Vermont. Notre Dame plays St. Francis of Pennsylvania
Okay.
at 7:30 tonight, and the Colts got a great win last week,
Yeah, they did.
and then they had a great loss.
Yeah, that's right.
Hasselbeck.
Yeah, he'll be back against Atlanta starting. Of course, they have a bye week this week, which is good.
Yeah.
They need that.
Now, did you see in the news this morning where the Texas Aggie alums, 3
Yeah.
lawyers, are suing the
I
Pacers
saw that.
for
Suing
the
Colts.
12th man?
Suing the Colts for the 12th
Or, I
man.
mean, the
Yeah.
Colts.
Yeah.
The Colts.
That's right. Yeah, for using the 12th man logo, which they say is theirs.
It'll be interesting to see how
Uh-huh.
that plays out. Well, I see Rochester's got 2 high school girl athletes that are signed for Division I.
Yeah, going to Ohio University.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And Indiana State.
Right.
Yeah. Becky Marco is going to Indiana State, and Alexa Holland to Ohio University. We got a lot of good athletes.
We do. Yes, we do.
Lady athletes.
Right.
Okay, some upcoming events. The Akron Community Center's holiday extravaganza is 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 Saturday,
Tomorrow.
and they're going to have 44 tables there.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting event.
Okay, I'll go over there and take a look at it. Fulton County Choral Club presents A Wonderful Christmas Time at 2 p.m. December 6th at the Fulton Community Center.
Okay.
Tickets for the Fort Wayne Philharmonic Orchestra Holiday Pops Concert, which is at 7:30 p.m. November 28th at the Rochester High School, are available for purchase at First Federal Savings
Okay.
Bank, Streamliner, Flirt, Fulton County Library. Big event coming up. It's the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's always a nice event.
Fulton County Community United Ministries is now accepting applications for its annual Christmas toy and food. That's always a big event. You got to qualify. You got to do a little paperwork on that,
Right.
and the Schroff sisters are in charge of that. That's of course Sarah Dalton, Joyce Schroff, and Erwin
Right.
Leap. Fulton County Farmers Market is 9 a.m. to 2 till noon tomorrow out at the museum. They got lots of things out there. A pancake and sausage breakfast will be served tomorrow from 7 to 11 at the Fulton County Museum. Cost is a free will donation. Proceeds will be used to train a service dog for a special need child. Grace United Methodist Church will be the local drop-off for Operation Christmas Child during National Collection Week. That's November 16th to the 23rd. That's
Okay.
this coming week.
Yes, it is.
You can. Their goal is to have 1,700 shoe boxes to send away.
Excellent.
Yep, it's a vigorous program.
It is.
Okay, some flowers.
Yeah, we like flowers.
Okay, how about some flowers to Giretti's and Dawn Peterson?
Okay.
I understand that the veterans that ate there Wednesday had free meal.
Ah, bless her heart.
I didn't know it.
It's nice.
Too late. Okay.
No rain checks allowed.
Yeah, no rain checks. Yeah. Okay, some flowers also to Harry Webb and Val Pemberton. They're leading the parade to get legislation help to fight against meth.
Right. They're
And-
doing a really good job with that,
Well, the
too.
senator was in here
Right.
and visited those pharmacies. You know, the major pharmacies in town have all elected not to put
Right.
that stuff out, and so and that was just Harry Webb leading the parade on that. But the idea came from Val Pimpert
Right.
at age 89, who is now 90. Yeah.
Val's still very active in the community.
Oh,
Does a
yeah.
lot of good things.
Yeah. When I grow up, I want to be like him.
Okay.
Money news. Rates are up again this week.
Okay. Is that a good thing?
Well, depends on what side of the fence you're on. The Dow lost 254 yesterday,
Okay.
down to 17,448. You know, last week we were talking about, when's it going
18,000.
When it's
Sure.
going to hit
Sure.
18?
Still a lot of uncertainty, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the driving force sometimes.
Well,
As you always say, it's perception.
there's always uncertainty and perception. And the perception right now is that the Fed will raise in December
Right.
for sure. And then when they do that, nothing will happen. They say, well, it was already built into the market. It's being built in this past week, I think, maybe probably today. So, well, Angie's List.
Yeah.
They had a buyout offer.
They
yesterday.
did.
Yeah.
They turned it down, didn't they? Or they're considering it.
Under
Okay.
consideration. If I were them, I would jump from.
Take the money and run?
They've never made a dime.
I know.
They've never made a dime.
Take the money and run. They got a big headquarters, though, in Indianapolis.
Yeah, yeah.
Big lights on the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's Home Advisor from the East Coast that has
Okay.
made the offer. They're similar business.
Right, right.
All right. Well, they never listened to my recommendation.
They're tuned in this morning, surely.
Yeah. Okay. All right, come on down to First Federal today. We're open from 8:30 to 5. ATM is always open. Our Go Green checking account not only pays you 20 cents for each debit card purchase you make, but also you can use ATM anywhere in the country and will be reimbursed up to $25 per month. Open a Go Green checking account with a minimum deposit of $150. And you get your monthly statements email
Electronically.
electronically.
That's right.
Yeah. And then when you use your ATM or your debit card, I should say, we pay you 20 cents.
Sure.
It's a windfall.
It is.
At the end of the month.
Just think of all the paper we're saving, too.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people look at that. Well, where'd this $22 come from? Okay. All right, keep in touch with what's happening by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. First Federal is an FDIC insured and an equal housing lender, and our NMLS number is 399927.
There you go.
Okay, now we get to
We're legal now.
We're legal. We'll
All right.
also get to the meat of this.
Get to the important part of the program?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't believe they did away with Fig Newton. So. Bill Newton, welcome. We're glad to have you here. You were a good friend of Mel Daniels, played with him at the Pacers, and attended that funeral last week. And tell us a little of your experiences and recollections with Mel.
Oh, Mel was, Hall of Famer, but he was just a great guy. And I think anybody that ever met Mel, there's two things that stand out about him besides his obvious skills as a basketball player. It's when you met him, you shook hands, and I mean your hand would never be the same after that. I mean, he had a crushing handshake, and he also had this big baritone laugh that would fill the room. So those are two things that, and a friend of mine here in Rochester, Joe Williams, we went to a game one time, and I introduced him to Mel, and he still talks to this day about his hand being crushed. But Mel was just, he was the anchor of the Pacers. Great guy. His number hangs in Banker's Life, and there's a lot of people that say that without Mel, none of that downtown development,
Sure.
Market Square, Banker's Life, even take it as far as Lucas Oil might not have been there, because the Pacers, being such a successful franchise at that time, showed that downtown, when you put your franchise downtown as opposed to putting it out on 465, it helps business everywhere. And So they were kind of the blueprint of how the redevelopment of downtown Indianapolis has been, and deciding to become the amateur professional sports capital. So you take it back to its very beginning, and Mel's right there.
Takes a lot of vision, but it also takes some active participants and some excitement, some players to get that done.
Absolutely. And Mel was kind of that. Roger was there,
Right.
But we needed that anchor, and Mel was that anchor.
Sure.
Okay, now, Bill, tell us a little bit of your background. I know you played basketball at Rockville, and you've been inducted into the Indiana Hall of Fame, and tell us a little bit about your high school ball and then at LSU.
Okay. You can it's still kind of hard for me to imagine that as a sophomore at Rockville High School, I was 5'11", playing guard, and then
5'11".
5'11", playing guard.
And how tall are you now?
6'9".
Okay.
And
You grew up.
Grew up pretty quickly, actually. So I had put on from 5'11" to 6'8" as a senior, and then my freshman year at LSU I was 6'9". So a lot of new clothes along the way.
God,
bet.
your mother was always buying shoes for you.
Shoes, yeah, and you could see we called them the high water pants. You know, you could see in all the pictures. You know, your blue jeans just kept getting higher and higher. You know, until you finally had to replace them. But to be in Rockville as a not a point guard, but a guard at 5'11", to a couple of years later to be, starting as a forward for one of the top Division I teams in the country with LSU and Pistol Pete, and then a few years after that to be just an hour from where you grew up, and in Indiana being such a basketball state, to think it would be possible to go from that 5'11" guard to playing for one of the top franchises, championship team in Indianapolis, just kind of hard to imagine.
Okay, you mentioned Pistol Pete. There's some young people out there who have no idea what you're talking about. Tell us about Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete averaged, for his 3 years, freshman weren't eligible at that time, for 3 years averaged something almost 45 points a game. And that's with no three-pointers, any of that kind of stuff. So he as of today, I mean, it's the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, and no one's ever come close, even with the three-pointers and the way they've tried to speed up the game. And I think, if somebody averages 30 points today, that's a big thing. If he averaged 30 points, people would be celebrating because they held him 15 points below his average.
And you made the point, but that was before the three-point shot. People need to remember that.
And he had range. He had unbelievable range.
Yeah.
And not only that, by the three-pointer, it opened up the floor so much, and he was so quick. And his scoring actually was his third best quality, I think. His passing was just, unbelievable. His dribbling was, it was just something. If you ever got to see him play in person in college, that's something you should treasure the rest of your life, because it was something to see.
Wasn't his dad a coach?
His dad coached him and
Okay.
me the whole time.
Okay.
Press,
That's what I
yeah.
thought. Okay.
Okay, now how did you end up at LSU from this little school? How did they find you?
Man, at that time, there was no internet or any of that stuff, so it was word of mouth. And when you're 6'9" in Indiana, somehow they find you. And you go on at that time, and there was no. Today, there's all these rules and regulations about recruiting trips and stuff. At that time, you could take as many recruiting trips as you wanted. And I took 4 or 5, and one of them was LSU. And Jay McCreary, a Hall of Famer from IU, and on their first championship team, was an associate coach down there. They had a couple other IU or Indiana players down there. And Pete kind of took a special interest in me since I was, he knew the leading rebounder coming out of high school in Indiana. And of course, if you're going to average 45 points a game, you need somebody to get you the ball.
That's right.
So
He loved you.
He loved me, yeah.
Well, that's great. We're talking to Bill Newton this morning. former Pacer, former LSU star, and a great friend of Mel Daniels, and a lot of Pacer friends. You've kept those relationships.
There's a lot of those from that last championship team there. I mean, there's still a lot of those guys just around the area.
Well, you guys are in the 70s age group, right?
Right. Mel was 71. I'll be 65 in December. I was the youngest one on the team at 65. So yeah, we got late 60s, early 70s.
Okay. After you graduated from LSU, how did you make the decision? I assume you had other offers. You just like the Pacers. You like the state of Indiana.
The only time I'd ever been out of the state of Indiana was when I went to LSU, and after my senior year, I played on a USA team that did a tour over in Russia, and I looked at a couple teams from Italy, and then the Pacers bought my rights, and when that happened, I pretty well made my mind up that if I was going to play basketball and had a chance to play with the Pacers, an hour from home, that's where I was playing, and things just worked out.
What are some things that stand out in your mind with your association with the Pacers?
That they were the quality of the league. I mean,
Now, why do you say that?
well, they,
Owners?
in Indiana, not so much at that time. Now we have some
Right.
of the best owners
Right.
in sport, but at
Right.
that time, ownership was, everybody's operating on a shoestring. So we had some great guys that probably lost a lot of money along the way, but they kept the franchise. We had the best team, obviously 3 championships, and we had just a class organization. I mean, anybody that knew any of the other teams would tell you that Indiana was the franchise that everybody else modeled after. And, that's certainly what I saw. And you look at it, we had at least 3 Hall of Fame players, a Hall of Fame coach, and on that particular team, if you weren't a Hall of Fame player, you're probably on 2 or 3 All-Star teams too. So,
Sure.
it was just a great team.
And who was your Hall of Fame coach?
Bobby Slick Leonard.
Slick Leonard.
Mhm.
Yep. And
I think he's still doing some broadcasting, isn't he?
he is.
A little bit. Maybe not to the degree he did, but I think he's still doing a little broadcasting.
I don't think he travels
Right.
anymore, but he does some home games and stuff. Yeah, and he was, of course, saw him at the funeral and
Right.
stuff, and he's a great guy and a great, terrific coach.
How many years in the NBA, Bill?
2 years.
Okay.
Yep. Last championship in '73, and that's
Okay.
that's something that you never forget.
That's right.
Now, do you have your championship ring on the day?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Wear it every
put it
day.
up there.
Hold that up for the camera.
Yeah, some of them put it in the safety deposit box. I've worn mine every day since I got
Excellent.
it. Yep.
Excellent.
If I won one, I would.
I would too, by golly. That's what they're for.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, that's great. Neil Daniels lived in Sheridan and retired there. And what was his pastime? How did he occupy his time?
Actually he grew up in Detroit, and then when he went to New Mexico, I think that kind of got him interested in horses and kind of outdoor life. And so after a couple of years with the Pacers, he bought, I think it was around an 80-acre ranch farm in Sheridan, and he loved horses, and so he raised quarter horses out there.
Okay.
And that was his other passion besides basketball.
Okay, I got to ask you this personal question. When you signed with the Pacers, what was your first year salary?
It was I think a whopping $22,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't exactly retirement wages, but it was
Wasn't bad.
It was better than digging ditches.
That's right.
Well, they pay you $22,000 and look at all the fun you could have.
Oh, absolutely. And that in today's standards sounds like so small, but at that time it was for people coming out of college, that was
Big
a
number.
lot better than average. Yeah.
And what year would that be?
That was 72.
72.
Yep.
Who were some of the other good players in the league at that time that you competed against?
Of course, Kentucky was one of the,
Right.
the prime
Remember that.
franchises, and they had Artis Gilmore.
Ah, that's
out of
right.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
7'2".
Oh man.
Great player, and Dan
Yeah.
Nissel.
Yeah.
Out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I did this because the NBA always talked about being the Premier League and all that stuff. Well, the first All-Star game after the leagues merged, I looked at the players that were on the East and the West squad, and there were more players that had ABA roots on that than had strictly NBA roots.
Wow.
So we had Rick Barry, we had Julius Erving.
Right.
We had actually a better league on everything except the huge centers like Jabbar and Lanier and stuff like that. We had a more of a forward guard oriented league, a faster paced league, actually a lot more fun league.
Yeah.
That people liked. So.
And a red, white, and blue
And a
basketball.
red, white, and
Who will forget
look
that?
at the NBA. They had how much stuff out of the ABA
Right.
they adopted. The 3-point.
Right.
And everybody says that the red, white, and blue ball is actually a better visual and a better ball than the old brown ball and stuff. But they said the NBA just couldn't bring themselves, to make it so obvious to adopt the red, white, and blue ball.
What prompted that merger of the ABA and the NBA?
Bidding war.
Sure.
They
Money.
money. It was,
Yeah.
everybody was before the NBA had no competition. They gave you an offer, and you either played basketball with their offer, or you sold encyclopedias.
That's about right.
That's right. There were a lot of encyclopedias sold out there.
Absolutely.
Encyclopedias and Bibles,
There you go.
door to door.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, people from IU remember Don Schlunt. He, All-American, NCAA champion, came out, was drafted, first round
Right.
and stuff, and they offered him a contract, and he was a big-time salesman for Herff Jones, and he said,
Sure.
"No thanks, I make more money selling rings."
Selling jewelry.
Yeah.
That's right.
Bill Newton, thank you for stopping by today and sharing with us
Good to talk with
your
you, Bill.
experiences as a professional. Also, grade school. We only have one grade school in Rockland. And
pleasure. My
LSU
pleasure.
star. You've had a great experience.
Absolutely. I loved every minute of it.
Okay, let's go to our trivia. We had several things.
Scott, I hope you've been studying.
I'll tell you.
What were the names of the two NBA franchises that were previously in Indianapolis?
I don't know.
You know?
You know?
One was the Olympians, wasn't it?
Olympians
Okay.
and the Jets.
Yeah, I didn't know the Jets,
Wow.
but the
Yeah.
Olympians, I recall.
And the four teams that merged with the NBA would be,
Pacers. Kentucky?
Nope.
No,
Should
okay.
have, but
Okay.
didn't.
Nets.
Denver, Nets,
Yeah.
and San Antonio.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and, okay, well, they merged together in '76, and of course, Mel Daniels had offers to the NBA and the ABA, and he went with the ABA with the Minnesota Muskies.
Minnesota Muskies. a lot of great names in the ABA. I'll
Oh,
tell you.
yes. Oh, yes. Indeed.
The Memphis Tams.
I had forgotten that one. That's right.
Okay, well, thank you for stopping by. Words of wisdom
Okay.
by Anonymous again. If at first you don't succeed, and maybe this can apply to basketball players,
Could be.
do it like your mother told you.
Well said. Dick Belcher, thank you very much. Bill Newton, thank you very much for being here in the First Federal Program. Scott, great to have you in the studio this morning. Thank you.
Buying your first home? Let the experts at First Federal Savings Bank help you through the process. At First Federal, all of their mortgage loans are serviced locally with payment options that are convenient for you. Their staff will work with you answering your questions and providing professional service. First Federal will even pay standard closing costs for qualifying first-time home buyers. Just another way First Federal takes care of you. Your local mortgage lender.